Programs normally seen at this time have been canceled or rescheduled so that we may present the following CBC News special.
It's one of the worst air disasters ever, and it's taken more Canadian lives than any other crash in history. Air India Flight 182 simply disappeared from radar screens off the coast of Ireland. On board were 329 people. More than 280 of them were Canadians. At least 86 of the passengers were children. It is almost certain that no one survived.
This year marks its 30th anniversary of the Air India bombing on Flight 182. The Gritlit Gallery on the Bay hosted an event in memory for those who were affected.
I think this was a Canadian tragedy that initially wasn't framed that way. I think because most of the victims were South Asians, so not white Canadians. Canadians didn't see it as their tragedy. And what was mentioned in the event as well is that Indians kind of didn't either. And so nobody claimed it as their tragedy.
Padma Viswanathan is author of the novel The Ever After of Ashan Rao, which focuses on the effects on families after the bombing.
Memorializing is a funny thing, though, and there are ways in which the memorializing of Air India is simultaneously necessary and problematic. It starts to harden into a single version of what it was and the ways that it's appropriate to remember it, and the memorials themselves, often physically. Some of them were not at all what the victim families had wanted, and many of them feel divorced from it. I mean, there are a lot of, again, as necessary as it is, memorializing keeps certain conversations alive. It also can deaden some aspects.
Apprentice Single is one of many who has been affected by this tragic event.
Well, I think there's a number of reasons why it's important. One is that most of the victims, or many of the victims, were Canadians, one of them being my cousin. And for me, it's like keeping the memory of anything that happens to people in our country alive. It's part of our history. It's part of who we are. It makes us aware of our past, our present, and also our future.
Today, the investigation of Air India Flight 182 is still ongoing. Reporting from Mohawk College Journalism, I'm Han Vo.